Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Before this lecture, I have shared one form with you. If you have done registration on NASCOM site, then you have to fill that form. Okay. And if also you have not done the registration, same you can mention in that particular form. Okay. That you have to submit today before 3 p.m. Is there any problem in this?
No, ma'am.
And those who have not completed the registration, yesterday I have found that 4 students has not given their concern that they have registered or not. So if you have not done the registration, then do it today only. Okay, so that is for your benefit. Okay. Next to that, related to our last lecture, we have started the discussion on acoustical design of a hall. Basically, whenever big size halls are designed and constructed, we need to consider several points. Okay, and what are that points? What care one should take with respect to its acoustical design, that we have started discussion. The first point that we have seen is the site selection. Of course, whenever such kind of building is getting constructed, we need to choose a particular site which will have the quiet surrounding. Okay, so quiet surrounding, and basically the location should be away from the noisy area. That are the pre-requirements before the construction. Okay, if the site selection is proper, of course one can contribute or one can develop good acoustical design over there. So that we have seen in last lecture. Next to that, the second point we have seen volume. One need to see what amount of audience will be there. So depending upon the number of audience, the area or volume of that hall should be calculated. Okay, so to calculate volume of any hall, we know the formula is length into breadth into height, but one should take that for a single person how much amount of space is required. So according to that, calculation should be done. And that's why whenever you will go for huge kind of auditoriums, the capacity of their accommodation is mentioned properly, and according to that you will see the seat numbers are also provided in that. So these are the points that we have seen in the last lecture. We have started discussion on the shape of the room, and we finished lecture with that point. Today we will start again with the same point. But before that, if you are having any problem related to the points that we have discussed in last lecture, you may ask. Is there any problem or confusion? Yes, anybody? Okay, Sam. So I'll present the screen. Okay, so here you can see how or what kind of shape is generally selected for big auditoriums or big theaters, one can say, and that is nothing but the fan blade kind of shape. Why this particular shape is required? Because if you can see, the reflection is in a high amount if such kind of shape is there. Another important thing that you can see in this particular figure, that the far end of this particular shape is covered with sound absorbing material. Okay, so why do you think that sound absorbing surface is essential in such kind of buildings? Here you can see the fan blade kind of shape is there. At this particular place there is a source of sound, and of course stage will be at this particular end. You can see these two faces, they are not exactly parallel to each other, they will intersect at some particular point, and you can see these two parallel faces. Out of that two parallel faces, The far end or back end of the room is covered with sound absorbing material or sound absorbing surface is name given to this particular area. So what will be the reason to have the sound absorbing surface over here? Yes, can you guess? Basically the answer is provided on the slide. If you can see or if you can recall what we have learned at the start of this particular chapter, we have seen due to reflection of sound there is possibility to generate some defects. One defect is reverberation, another defect is echo. So in case of echo, what we have seen, if the two surfaces they are having the distance of say 17 meter or more, there will be generation of echo. Okay, and here you can see for big auditoriums or big theaters there are chances that the stage area and the back end of the room will have that much amount of distance, and if the distance is 17 meter or more, of course there will be generation of echo. In order to avoid the echo, basically the far end or back side of that room is covered with sound absorbing material, so that less amount of reflection will be there from this particular side and there will not be generation of echo over here. Okay, so to avoid the echo, unnecessary echo, basically such kind of things are done in auditoriums. Okay, so this was related to the shape point. The fourth point in acoustical design of a hall is reverberation. So you people now know what is reverberation. Reverberation is nothing but the persistence of sound, or we can say prolongation of sound. So how is the reverberation? Whenever a source will get generated, if source stops, after that also you can feel the effect of that sound. Okay, so that is nothing but the reverberation that we have seen. While designing any of the hall or any of the room, that is it is applicable to our homes or houses or various kinds of buildings, that reverberation time should be proper for that particular place. Okay, now how to recognize what kind of reverberation time is required? So for that, here you can see one table is provided. Okay, so various areas or various situations are mentioned, and for that situation what amount of reverberation time is required, that is also mentioned over here. Like if you can see for the speeches and lectures, or you can say for the lecture halls or for the buildings where lectures are going to be conducted, example can be our college or any of the college or school. So if lecture delivery is required in that building, then reverberation time should be in the range of 0.5 second. Okay, if some concerts are going to be there in that particular hall or something, then little bit more reverberation time is also advisable. Okay, so here you can see for the concerts, for the buildings where concerts are going to be organized, the reverberation time is 1 to 2 seconds. Okay, if we talk about the theaters, then if small theater is there, so the range will be as like previous 1 to 1.5 second. If we talk about the large theater, of course it will have large amount of volume, and we have seen if volume is large, of course reverberation time will be large. Okay, so by considering that particular point, here you can see as the volume increases for large theater, the reverberation time expected is 2.3 seconds. Okay, so is there any doubt in this particular table? For speeches,
No, ma'am.
it should be 0.5. For concerts, it should be 1 to 2 seconds. Theaters, small theaters, 1.1 to 1.5 seconds. For large theaters, it should be 2.3 seconds. Now the question is, if you are having no doubt, what kind of reverberation time should be there for the houses? If we talk about your room or your house right now, what
Less than
reverberation?
0.1 second.
0.1 second, okay.
Yes,
Any other
ma'am.
answer?
Less than 0.5 second.
Less than 0.5 second, good. Any other answer? Anybody wants to say a different answer from this? Okay.
0.5 second.
Yes, basically the answer, whatever answers you have provided, that are absolutely correct. It should be in the range of 0.5 second. If it is 0.5 second, then also okay. If it is say 0.45 or zero point 0.4, that is also okay. Okay, but it should not be very less, or 0.00 something kind of reverberation time should not be there for a particular room. Now what happens if the reverberation time is too large? Suppose if we talk about your
Excuse me,
room.
ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, Farhan is not able to admit in the class.
Just a second. Any other student want to join?
So yes, I think.
Okay. I'll wait for 1 minute. Those who want to join, ask them to join it right now. Once I move to the PowerPoint slide, it is very inconvenient. Okay. So hope all students are joined now. Okay. So basically, if
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, the Doppler effect in sound. So that what you said before, that walls of the theater are coated with something. So same phenomena is used to avoid the Doppler effect in sound in theaters.
Yeah, that is also right, but that we are going to see. Like Doppler effect, another effect is there known as sonar effect. Okay, so of course, each and every
Yes, ma'am.
effect, they are having some kinds of problems as well as some applications. So we need to see what amount of frequency they are having, what is the situation. Are we are going to have the we want to take the benefit from that, or we want to avoid that effect. Okay, so that depends upon the situation, and what to do with that, that of course with respect to sonar we are going to talk about that, but that will be the part of our next session. Okay, so basically one thing that you should take into consideration, that reverberation time should be proper. Okay, so if the reverberation time is too large, of course the audience will be in confused mode, because one source is generating one particular sound. If that sound remains in that particular situation for longer duration, as reverberation time is longer, and successively the second sound is getting generated, and as the previous sound is not dead in that situation, the second sound, of course there will be confusion. Okay, both sounds will be there, both generated sounds will be there in that particular place, and confusion will get created. The opposite case, we can say that if the reverberation time is so small, say for speeches and lectures, if we talk about a classroom and the reverberation time is in the range of say 0.01 second, what will happen, whatever is source is generating the sound, suppose your teacher is on the dais, he is saying something, and the last person of that room will not hear that sound. Why? Because reverberation time is very small. So before going towards the last person in the room, the sound will get dead in that area. Okay, so very small amount of reverberation time, that is also not advisable. At the same time, high amount of reverberation time, too long or too short, both reverberation times are not allowed. Now basically one can see these points are important for the say civil engineering students, but even though you are not civil engineers, this portion is kept for your syllabus also. The reason is that, of course, with respect to programming, if you are going to design programming for any of the construction, then you should know all that things. Okay, what is reverberation time, and for various kinds of places, what amount of reverberation time should be there. So you people also should have the knowledge about this, and that is why this portion is kept in the syllabus for all the students. Okay, another important thing, and of course this might be observed by all of you, those who have visited large auditoriums or theaters at any moment of time. Generally we will see, or we can see in theaters, arrangement is little bit different. Whatever arrangement you can see in the lecture hall, that kind of arrangement you will not see in the cinema theaters. Basically in cinema theaters you can see the stepwise arrangement is seen. Okay, don't leave the meeting in between and then try to join. Of course it creates trouble and problems for all of us. Okay, okay, so here you can see one image is provided which is related to say any theater, and you can see basically stepwise arrangement is there of the chairs. Another important thing, you might have observed that whatever theaters or big auditoriums are there, they are not having the plastic chairs. Basically the chairs that we can see in the theaters, they are cushioned chairs. Why this will be so? Is there any guess
To
from
provide
your side?
comfort.
Yes, to add the comfort, that is of course absolutely correct thing. Another thing,
And cushion absorb sound.
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
absorption of sound will be in a large amount in case of cushion chairs as compared to plastic chairs, whereas plastic chairs will reflect the sound in a more manner. Now basically here whenever we say the absorption of sound, that will be a audience sound. Okay, so whenever you go for watching movies, it is not expected to hear the sound that is generated by the audience. And of course this is a common thing that whenever we go for movies and all, of course there are some notorious elements in the theaters, those create unnecessary sound, and that sound is not required by other audiences, and that's why one should minimize that particular sound. So minimization of audience sound is possible if some cushion chairs are inserted in that particular area. Another important thing you might have observed in the cinema theaters is the carpet. Okay, so whatever steps are there, they are having the carpets, or the front portion of the screen, it is also having the carpets. Again the reason will be the same, to avoid the unnecessary sound. Seating arrangement, if we talk about the seating arrangement, then you can see the circular kind of seating arrangement will be there. Of course stepwise seating arrangement with some circular kind of or arc kind of things will be there with respect to seating arrangement. So basically that arcs are the concentric arcs of the circle, so seats are arranged in that particular fashion. Then you can observe the sloped floor with respect to seating arrangement. So basically this is done in order to have the clear view towards the stage, and at the same time the sound distribution will be in a good manner if such kind of arrangement is selected. Okay, so both the things, comfort, then the visualization of audience towards the screen, and then acoustical properties are considered while designing any of the hall, and based upon that such kind of arrangements is done in theaters and auditoriums. Okay. The another thing is the acoustical treatment and interior surfaces. Of course, we have talked about this, why the cushion chairs are used, then why the carpets are used. Of course, you might have found various kinds of curtains are there on the back side, on the front side, even with respect to stage, on both the ends you will find certain amounts of curtains are provided. So all that things are done to have the good acoustical treatment in the hall. I'm having one video over here, but I don't know that it will be clear to you or not. If it is not clear in a high manner, of course I will share it through your group. Okay. So try to see what happens if some sound absorbing materials are inserted into the room. See, here reverberation time is 5 seconds, and as this time is quite huge, you can't hear anything if such kind of room is there which is not having any of the sound absorbing material. A vacant room is there, so in vacant room you will find that high amount of reverberation time is there, and due to high amount of reverberation time, whatever is the speech, that is not at all audible to anybody. Now here one surface of that room is covered with sound absorbing material, and you can see the reverberation time is decreased, that is nothing but the 3 seconds. But even though reverberation time is 3 seconds, we can't hear anything in the room. Means that time period is also huge as compared to the acoustical part is concerned.
Many factors influence speech intelligibility.
Again, another portion is covered, reduction in the reverberation time is there, but the speech is not clear.
Many factors influence speech intelligibility. Many factors influence speech intelligibility.
Okay, so here you can observe in the previous case also, after acoustical treatment, reduction in reverberation time is there, but speech was not that much clear. But for reverberation time of 0.6 second, you can see the speech is clear now. Okay, so this much amount of reverberation time is required, and to get this much amount of reverberation time, how is the acoustical treatment that you have seen? Means it clearly indicates that you should have the proper acoustical treatment if you want the proper reverberation time for any of the space. Okay, but if the absorbing materials are more, then what will happen, that we will see in the next case.
Many factors influence speech intelligibility.
In the last case, the entire area is covered with absorbing materials, and due to that the speech will get dead over there within a short amount of time. Okay, so very less amount of reverberation time, it also creates the problem in acoustical design of a hall. So proper reverberation time should be maintained while designing any of the hall. That is the main motto to show that particular video. Okay, so basically
हेलो मैम
yes,
मैम प्राची ज्वाइन हो नहीं पा रही, उसे ज्वाइन करना है.
okay. See, I have taken the extension of auto admit in the Google, but what happens whenever we present the screen, the auto admit doesn't get in working condition. Okay, So to avoid such kind of problems, I'll suggest whatever is the start time of the lecture, try to join that lecture at that moment only. Even if our lecture is at 11 a.m., I start the meeting before 10 or 5 minutes. So you can enroll for the meeting, you can attend the meeting in that time, then it will avoid such kind of problems while conducting the lecture. Okay, so keep in mind, try to join lectures, all lectures on the time. Okay. So basically we have seen absorbents or some sound absorbing materials are required in any of the room to avoid the unnecessary sound. Another important thing, concave shaped ceilings in the form of dome should be avoided because that created high amount of reverberation, and that is the reason if you have visited the Maqbara kind of places or particular caves in Ellora or Ajanta, so reverberation time is high in the caves where concave type of domes are available. Okay, so that should be avoided. Then floor should be covered with carpet, that we have seen. To avoid the audience noise, we can have such kind of arrangement. Okay, so these are the things with respect to acoustical treatment of any of the hall. Then what are the materials which will allow the high amount of absorption of sound, or which are the materials that can be selected for the acoustical treatment of the hall. So basically that materials are divided into various categories. Here you can see some porous materials are used, then some resonant panels are used, some cavity resonators can be used, and composite absorbers are also used for the acoustical treatment. Some familiar examples, we can say the curtains, then wood or some kinds of fibers, or some acoustic plasters. Even plastering is also important in acoustical treatment. Okay, then you might have seen that various offices or various buildings, they are having the false ceiling kind of structure. Okay, or false ceiling is generally done. Of course, doing false ceiling is very attractive, that makes your space attractive. At the same time, it creates the important role in the acoustical treatment. Okay, so perforated panels or false ceiling is the main area through which you can have the good acoustical treatment of the hall. Okay, so such kind of things are done in acoustical treatment of the hall. So this is the portion with respect to acoustics in your syllabus. If you are having any doubt, we will have discussion at this moment. Otherwise, we have to go to the next session, that is nothing but the ultrasonics. So if you are having any doubts, queries, you may ask.
No.
Okay. You people are very intelligent. You are not having any kinds of doubt, or you never have doubts or questions. That is a good thing. But try to have some questions and discussion. If we do the discussion, then of course some confusions may get clear. Okay, so
Well, that's because you don't feel doubtful.
yes, I didn't get
Means
what-
whatever you teach, ma'am. Means whatever you teach, ma'am, is doubtless, ma'am. So we don't get any doubt.
Oh, thank you for the compliment. But being a student, there should be some questions in your mind. Even though
Hello,
the
ma'am.
teacher is excellent and all, that is not the question. But of course, that is a kind of practice. If you do the practice, if you read more in this regard, then of course doubt will get generated. Okay. I have many stories related to that, but as we are not having time, I'll go towards the ultrasonics. So ultrasonics, as I have mentioned in the start of this unit number 2, depending upon the frequency of sound, sound waves are divided into 3 categories. The first category is the infrasonic waves, or according to the frequency we can say. First there will be infrasonic waves having sound frequency less than 16 Hertz. Then in between 16 Hertz to say 20 kilohertz, there will be audible range sound waves. Above than 20 kilohertz, there will be ultrasonic waves. Okay, and you might have seen or you might have heard about this, that the ultrasonic waves we people can't hear. Even if we talk about the infrared infrasound waves, then only animals are having capability to hear that much amount of frequency. Then of course, if we talk about audible range sound waves, then that frequency human beings can hear. And ultrasonics, of course, there are some insects or some of the say animals who are having, or birds we can say, who are having the capability to hear that range of sound waves. Okay, so depending upon the frequency, you can see the dividation is done with respect to sound waves. So infrasonic, then audible range sound waves, and ultrasonic sound waves. Now here in this particular section, we are going to talk about how these ultrasonic waves are generated, what are their properties, and where we can apply the knowledge of ultrasonics to solve various problems in the society. Okay, so that will very small portion is there, just introduction, properties, then generation of ultrasonic sound waves and applications, that we are going to see in this particular section. Okay, so this is the well-known example that ultrasonic waves can be heard by bats, and with the help of that sound only they detect their prey. Okay, so generally they can't see, so at the time of night they emit some amount of ultrasonic waves, and from the obstacle they get the reflection, and by that particular process they detect their prey. So this is the generating and receiving the ultrasonic sound waves is the most important process in the lifestyle of bat. Okay, of course we people can't hear the sound, and then also we want to have some applications from it. So how to perform that application, that we need to see. Okay, another important thing, here you can see, as one student has mentioned, the Doppler effect. So like Doppler effect, another effect is seen in case of ultrasonic sound waves, that is nothing but the sonar effect. So is there anybody who is having the knowledge about the sonar word, or do you know what is the full form of the sonar? Sonar, S-O-N-A-R. We are not.
It is listening to sound in water.
I'm asking full form.
Sound navigation and ranging.
Sound navigation and ranging is the full form of sonar. Okay, so what happens in the sonar and where to use sonar, that we are going to see, but in the introduction just this particular slide is kept to give you knowledge that whatever is seen in case of bats, the same things are used by various acoustical animals, and same we can replicate with some machines. Okay, so same is the situation. Generation and generation of the sound and receiving of the sound is done in all the three cases, and the same can be used for various kinds of applications. Okay, so basically in this only we need to see how the generation is done and how the signals are received. So that is the main theme line of the sonar case. Okay, detailed discussion we are going to do in the application section. Okay, so basically what we know related to ultrasonic sound, they are having the frequency greater than 20 kilohertz. So at the same time, these ultrasonic waves, they impart high amount of energy. Okay, so as we know, ultrasonics, they belongs to sound waves. That sound waves, they are nothing but the mechanical waves, and they generate high amount of energy. Now due to high amount of energy, various areas become open to have the applications of ultrasonic waves. So important property, they are highly energetic. You people should note this particular thing. Okay, another important property that as we have seen in case of light, that light waves have various kinds of phenomena: reflection, diffraction, transmission. Even with the help of audible range sound waves we have seen. Reflection is possible, transmission is possible, absorption is possible. So all that things are also applicable for ultrasonic sound waves. Ultrasonic sound waves also reflect, refract and absorb by various kinds of material. Okay, and due to the reflection property, as we have seen in the last slide, the sonar case is possible, or even the bats can detect their prey. Okay, so ultrasonic sound waves can reflected, refracted and absorbed. That is the second property of the waves. Then as we have said, they can be reflected, even they can be transmitted over the long distance, and while having the transmission of these signals, there will not be much amount of loss of energy. Okay, so if you want to have some kind of communication over a long distance, one can use the ultrasonic sound waves. One can say this is the property, or that property is advantageous or disadvantageous, because whenever ultrasonic sounds are created into the substance, say in water, if ultrasounds are created, then after particular amount of time there will be a heating effect. Or if the ultrasonic sounds are emitted through liquid, after some time that liquid will get high amount of temperature. Okay, so heating effect is there when that high energetic sound waves pass through some substance. Of course, it is having some advantageous aspect, but some disadvantages are also there. Again, related to this, we are going to talk about in the application area. But heating effect is there in case of ultrasonic sound, that you should take into consideration. Okay, then they produce cavitation effects in the liquid. Okay, so related to this cavitation word, you might have seen one advertisement on the television that is related to, say, some toothpaste. Okay, so cavities are generated. If you eat high amount of sweet, then cavities will get generated in your teeth. So what it means, all of you might have seen that particular advertisement. So what is the meaning of the term
Sensitivity.
Yes? Yes? Whoever has given the answer?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so who want to tell what is the meaning of that cavity over there? I think ad is of Colgate company.
Yes.
Yes, so what is the meaning of cavity over there?
Cavity means hole or space in some.
Hole or space, okay?
Or end effect.
Yes. So why I have talked about that particular advertisement, because whatever you have mentioned, that holes are getting created or some spaces are going to be created. So same kind of effect you can visualize if ultrasonic sound waves are immersed into the liquids. Okay. So if high energy ultrasonic sound waves are emitted into the liquid, they produce cavities, they produces some kinds of holes or bubbles or some vacant spaces over there, and that particular effect is known as cavitation effect. Okay, so that is one important property of ultrasonic sound waves. This is very clear that sound waves for their passage they require the medium. So same is applicable for the ultrasonic sound waves. Ultrasonic sound waves cannot travel through the vacuum. For their propagation, requirement of medium is necessary. Okay, so that one should consider while having the use of ultrasonic sound waves. Then the speed of that ultrasonic sound waves is depending upon the medium through which it is traveling. If higher density medium is there, then of course speed will be larger in that case. If the medium is less dense, then speed of ultrasonic sound waves will be less in that particular case. Okay, so whatever is mentioned on the screen, that are the properties of ultrasonic waves. One should know the properties. If properties of any material is known, then only you can have the various kinds of applications. If properties are unknown, one cannot visualize that where to use this particular knowledge. Okay, so these are the properties. Depending upon the properties, we are going to talk about the applications. That will be the last portion of this particular unit. Okay, now as we know, the ultrasonic sound waves, they are having the high amount of frequency. Now how to generate that high amount of frequency? For that, two popular methods are there. Okay, so for the production of ultrasonic sound waves, two production methods can be seen. One is known as piezoelectric method, another is known as magnetostriction method. Okay, basically, as you can see, two different methods are used for the production of ultrasonic waves, but the logic that is used in both the cases is similar. Okay, and basically for the generation of sound waves, what we need to use? We need to use transducers. Okay, so in case of piezoelectric method, there will be a piezoelectric transducer. In case of magnetostriction method, there will be a magnetostriction transducer. Okay, so before going towards these methods, I would like to ask you, what is the meaning of the term transducer? Have you ever heard the word transducer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the transducers? What are the transducers then? What is the meaning of that term? Or any example of transducer that you can give? Yes, one student was.
It is an energy converting.
Yes, ma'am.
It converts one form of energy into another form of energy. Okay, so that is the simple definition of the term transducer. Any example that you are knowing?
Microphone.
Solar panel.
Yes, microphone, solar panel, even the tube light that we can see in the room, then the fan,
Thermometer.
mic, thermometer, various kinds of electronic devices, electric geyser, or say electric fan you use, electric machines, various kinds of electric machines, okay, that are generating heat. So all these are transducers. They convert one form of energy into another form of energy. And as I said, for the production of ultrasonic sound waves, again we need to use transducers. Okay, so here what will happen? Whatever is the input, that input one need to convert into mechanical waves. Okay, because ultrasonic waves, they are nothing but the mechanical sound waves. So at the output, what we require? We require there should be sound waves or mechanical waves. Whatever is the input, based upon that input, there will be generation of mechanical waves. Now, if you see these two words in a careful manner, then here you can see piezoelectric method. Means in piezoelectric method, you are going to input electrical signals, and with the help of that transducer circuit, electric signals are getting converted into sound waves. Okay, so giving electric signals and getting mechanical sound waves at the output will be the theme line of piezoelectric method. And in magnetostriction method, you can observe a magnet word is provided. So here you are going to apply the magnetic field. With the help of magnetic field, there will be generation of mechanical sound waves. Okay, or sound waves will be there at the output. So one method, with the help of electric signals, you are going to get sound waves. In one method, with the help of magnetism, you are going to get sound waves. Okay, so this is the theme line. If you can remember this particular thing, then understanding these two methods will become easy for you. Now with respect to the first, of course we are going to talk about these two methods one by one. So first we will go for the piezoelectric method. So have you ever heard the word piezoelectricity or piezoelectric materials?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Have you heard about the
Ma'am.
quartz material? Have you ever heard the word quartz material?
मैम piezoelectric panel सुना है.
Yes, piezoelectric panel सुना है. Okay. Have you heard about the quartz material? Even in the physics lecture, while having the discussion on
Yes ma'am, it is made up of glass.
Silicon something.
we can just a second. While having the discussion on
Ma'am, quartz
polarization of light, we have seen this particular material when I have shown you various substances which are optically active. So in that one example was the quartz. Okay, so it looked like glass material, but it is not the glass material. Okay, so quartz is a different thing. Basically that quartz material possesses the property of this piezoelectricity. Now what are the piezoelectricity or piezoelectric material? Here you can see one animation. So I'll give you 2 minutes to think. So whatever you can see in the animation, that you have to demonstrate. Okay, something is going on. So what is going on?
Excuse me ma'am.
Yes.
Whenever pressure is applied on the piezoelectric panel or something, that the electricity is produced.
Electricity is
There is deflection.
deflection in the voltmeter. Okay.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
that is nothing but the piezoelectric effect. Okay, and piezoelectric effect is possible with materials like quartz. So quartz is called as a piezoelectric material, or the panels made of that substances are known as piezoelectric panels. Okay, so what is this piezoelectric effect? When you apply mechanical pressure on the piezoelectric substances, for example say quartz, what happens? There will be generation of electricity along other two ends of the material. Okay, so here you can see from the upside and from the downside, whatever two blue colored arrows are provided, they apply mechanical pressure on the material, and due to that there is generation of EMF through the other faces. So whatever other faces are there, they generate the voltage over there. So that is nothing but the piezoelectric effect. Means here the transduction is going on, you are applying mechanical pressure, and at the output you are getting electric signals. Okay, so this is the thing that we can say in a short for piezoelectric method. But in the previous slide, what we have seen, what we require for the generation of ultrasonic sound waves, whatever thing is provided, that is required, or some different kind of things are required for the generation of ultrasonic sound waves. Here the mechanical pressure is applied and we are getting electrical signals at the output. So tell me,
Yes.
what is required for our case? The same thing or different thing? Whatever I am saying, is that clear to you?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
That I was expecting. See, here we have started discussion on piezoelectric method. Okay, so simply piezoelectric effect is nothing but apply mechanical pressure, you will get electrical signals along it. Okay, after application of mechanical signals, you will get electrical signals along it. Okay, that is the statement with respect to piezoelectric method, piezoelectric effect. Okay, on the previous slide,
Yes, ma'am.
what we have seen for the generation of ultrasonic sound waves, what is required? We required mechanical waves at the output. Okay, for the generation of ultrasonic sound waves, mechanical waves should be there at the output, and electricity should be at the input. But whatever case we are observing over here, is that in a similar fashion that we
Different, ma'am.
require? No. Answer will be no. Because here mechanical pressure is in the input and electrical signal in the output. And for the generation of ultrasonic sound waves, we require reverse condition. Okay, and that's why to produce ultrasonic sound waves, we require inverse piezoelectric method or piezoelectric effect. Okay, so what will be the inverse piezoelectric effect? We need to apply electrical signals, mechanical disturbance will be there in the output. Okay, so whenever somebody will ask to you what kind of effect is used for the generation of ultrasonic waves in piezoelectric method, then the answer will be we need to use inverse piezoelectric effect over there. Okay, so note down this particular word, inverse piezoelectric effect. Okay, now to have that inverse piezoelectric effect, one circuit is required. That circuit you can see on the screen. So I'll suggest take a screenshot, and after the lecture, whenever in the evening you will get time, draw this structure in your notebook, and after drawing you can send that images to me on the EP discussion group. Okay, so that will be one very small activity for today. You have to draw this particular circuit. I don't want to waste that time right now because we will have the discussion on this image at first. Okay, so what are the things that you can see in this particular image? One circuit is provided on the screen. So what are the components that you can recognize over here?
Crystal plate.
Capacitor, battery,
Here the crystal plate.
Switch.
Basically here crystal, we are talking about the piezoelectric crystal. Okay, so suppose a quartz material or any of the crystal which shows piezoelectric effect can be used over here. So most popular and most well known example here is the quartz material. Okay, so say in between two metal plates A and B, one quartz material is kept. Okay, so that is the crystal plate. Next to that, what you can see?
Ma'am, mutual induction.
Mutual induction is happening over there. No any physical
ma'am.
contact is made, but even though we can pass the electrical signals with the help of mutual inductions, and that's why here you can see the arrangement is done. Here one inductor L3 is selected. Here you can see two another inductors L2 and L1 are provided. Okay, next to that, what that C stands for, or what this symbol
Capacitor.
stands for? Okay, and what about this symbol?
it is capacitor.
Of course this is a capacitor, but this is a variable capacitor. You can see one arrow over
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
Okay, so only if two parallel lines are provided, that is nothing but the capacitor. But if you can see such kind of arrow, that will be a variable capacitor. So one variable capacitor is provided in parallel to the inductor L1. So here one LC circuit is created. Okay, then here you can see symbol S. S is nothing but the switch. If you complete or if you close this particular switch, the circuit will get completed. Otherwise, if the switch is open, there will not be any conduction through the circuit. Okay, here this HT stands for high tension battery. One battery is connected because we are interested to apply the electrical signals. Okay, so in order to provide electrical signals to the circuit, here the high tension battery is selected. Here you can see one transistor kind of structure is provided, or transistor is provided. One end of that transistor is connected to the inductor L2. One end is grounded and the base of the transistor is connected to the parallel LC circuit. Okay, so this is the arrangement that is done for the generation of ultrasonic sound waves through piezoelectric method. Okay, so is there any doubt in the arrangement?
No, ma'am.
Now to
Ma'am?
yes,
Ma'am, earthing is given. through the
Earthing is
transistor.
given. Yes, earthing is given. This particular end is grounded. Okay, so earthing is provided. Now, to understand this particular image and to understand the entire process of ultrasonic sound waves, you need to consider only one thing: how the transduction is going on over here. Okay, simple is the thing. We need to apply electrical signals and we need to get sound waves at the output. Okay, so when you will make this switch on, when you will make this high tension battery on, what will happen? It will pass the electrical signals into this particular area. Okay, with the help of mutual induction, what you can do? You can pass that signals to the crystal plate which is provided across the AB. Okay, if electrical signals are provided to the piezoelectric material, what will happen over there? If electrical signals are applied to the crystal plate, what will happen according to inverse piezoelectric effect? Yes?
Ma'am, electric current is passing.
We will
Mechanical force will be produced.
It will start vibrating. Okay? Whenever you will apply electrical signal to the quartz crystal, quartz material, it will start vibration. Okay? Due to that vibration, what will happen? The air surrounding to the crystal plate, that will get disturbed. Okay? Disturbance in the air medium is nothing but the process of generation of mechanical waves. So whenever we apply electrical signals to the quartz plate by mutual induction, it will have some kinds of vibration in the environment. Due to that vibrations, mechanical waves will get generated in the surrounding medium. Now whatever are the mechanical waves generated over there, they will have very small amount of magnitude or frequency will be small. But for ultrasonic sound waves, what is required? We require high amount of frequency. Okay, so to tune that frequency, here the variable capacitor is provided. Here you can see one variable capacitor is provided. So what we need to do? We need to change the value of this C1 up to that particular point where the natural frequency of this quartz material will get matched to the applied electrical signals frequency. If that resonance is created in the circuit, then there will be generation of ultrasonic sound waves. Okay, so simple is the thing. What you need to do? You need to apply the signals, then you have to change the value of this C1 up to that point where you will get the resonance in the circuit. Once resonance is generated in the circuit, you can get easily production of ultrasonic sound waves over there. Okay, how to calculate that frequency? For that we need to